Hi, my name is Rebecca and this is Instructor Brad, and we're working on my private pilot certificate. This is a video series following my journey of becoming a private pilot. Everything is building up to my solo flight now, and Brad is going to discuss the weather minimums I need to work within.
Once I solo you, then you can take off. You'll have some restrictions. You'll be able to take off and land at this airport. I'll probably give you authorization to go over to Alliance and do takeoffs and landings there. But those are the only two airports you can go to, and you'll also be allowed to go out to the practice area.
Yep.
Now you'll have a visibility restriction. You have to have at least 5 miles of visibility.
Yep.
Ceiling has to be at least 3,000 feet, 3,000 foot ceiling. The wind will have to be less than 25 knots and less than a 10 knot crosswind.
Yep.
Those are going to be your restrictions. If the winds are more than that, or the visibility is less than that, or it's nighttime, it's only daytime authorization, you won't be able to go.
That's fine. Yep.
So we're going to head out into the traffic pattern. We're going to work on ground reference maneuvers. That can include a rectangular course, S-turns, and turns around a point. Ground reference maneuvers are completed 1,000 feet above ground level. The challenging thing about ground reference maneuvers is the wind. On a nice calm day like today, it's going to be quite easy, but on a day with strong winds, you can make a circle with the airplane and the ground track will not be a circle, it'll be an oval or squished snail kind of pattern, because as you're turning, the airplane is also moving across the ground. And I know Brad has extensively explained ground reference maneuvers. However, it takes a lot of processing, and if you have time, I would absolutely recommend going to the Airplane Flying Handbook, which is a free resource available, and I'll put a link at the bottom of this video. In chapter 6, the ground reference maneuvers chapter is very in-depth and is very helpful to try and understand drift and ground track control. So Brad here demonstrates a few things about ground reference maneuvers, particularly focusing on the wind. We fly a straight line, and once we've established a straight line, I make a 360-degree constant medium bank turn. As the airplane completes the 360-degree turn, it should return directly over the straight line reference, but downwind from the starting point. This demonstrates how the airplane drifts away from the reference point, even though I'm holding a constant bank angle. So the path over the ground is an elongated circle, although in reference to the airplane flew a perfectly continuous radius. So then we work on adjusting the bank angle during the turn to correct for the ground speed changes from the wind in order to maintain a constant radius turn. Turns can be completed to the left counterclockwise around the object, or to the right clockwise around the object. And normally students are given the option, and if we're given the option, we would always want to choose to the left because there's better visibility out of your window, but you may be asked to do it to the right, and so it's definitely worth practicing both ways. Here is an example of the airplane doing a turn around a point to the right and a turn around a point to the left, and then we're going to go up and do an S-turn around a road. This track is not from my first lesson. This is taken from practice later on in my training. And this is a close-up of the turn around a point. Again, I'm wanting to maintain my altitude by 100 feet and my airspeed. And this is a lot darker than I've been out flying before. As you can see, we've got the light instrument panels on. We've got the red light going on behind us. and I'm turning from base to final and looking at the runway. Now I get to look at how the lights will help me with my landing. One of the different lights I can see is the windsock. It is now lit up and much more visible. And importantly, I now get to see the visual approach slope indicator, or VASI. A white and a red one means I'm on track. And this is me lining up on final, trying to maintain everything in the cockpit as well as monitoring outside. I'm beginning to feel a bit more automated at this point. I'm doing very much a new student landing. I don't try and land on the numbers and just slowly bring out the power and rolling down the runway. I have to agree with Brad, I think that one was a pretty good landing, so I'm super happy. It's time to pack the airplane away, complete my debrief with Brad, and head home for the day.
Great job. You did really well. And I threw in some emergency procedures for you too.
Yep.
The key is when the engine quits, go to what airspeed?
70.
Why do we go to 70?
Because it's the optimum glide speed that will give us the optimum
Time aloft to make decisions. But once we have a field that we're going to land at, we can use whatever airspeed we want so long as we don't exceed the limitations of the airplane to land the airplane in that field. So if we got to use 120 knots, we use 120. If we got to use 60, we use 60. And the flaps as well. But we don't want to put flaps in until we're landing assured, because that's more drag. Because we don't have any power for a go-around in that instance. Right? Okay. Talking about ground reference maneuvers. You're going to want to go out and practice. Today when we did the rectangular course, you were a little bit close. So I see about a little bit farther away, about a mile away, so that the object cuts through 1/2 to 2/3 the way up the strut, the wing strut. Okay? That'll put you about a mile to a mile and a half away from your runway, which is good for traffic patterns. Same way when you do your turns around a point, and then the S-turns over the road look good. The key is, where is the wind coming from? Because if we're turning into the wind, the bank is going to be shallow. If we're turning away from the wind, we're going to have to steepen up our bank. Okay? Any questions on the ground reference maneuvers?
No, I just need a lot of practice.
You need to go practice them. And once we get you soloed, you'll be able to go out and practice those by yourself. So now our objective going forward is, you've learned a lot of these things that's going to have to keep you safe. And when you go by yourself, you have to be aware of emergency procedures. You have to be aware of airspace, where you can fly, where you can't fly. I showed you some restrictions today. I wanted you to stay north of the dam and keep Eagle Mountain Lake in sight. If you get too far away from it, you may lose your bearings and go, I don't know where I'm at, and I don't know how to get back, right? So in that instance, let's say you got too far away and you couldn't find Eagle Mountain Lake.
Go east.
Go east, exactly. That's right. And then would it come back into play? Let's say you got short on fuel.
I would find another airport.
Another airport and just land. Hey, there's an airport. Even if it's a military airport, I'm going to land because I'm an emergency now. And I'm going to land, and we'll probably have to do some paperwork, and I'll probably get some phone calls. And but hey, I've had to deal with that before. So, but the thing is to maintain your situational awareness so that you know where you're at, so that you know how to get back home. Make sure you're always looking out.
Thanks for watching. This is Rebecca and Instructor Brad with PrivatePilot.guide, following my journey of becoming a private pilot. Please subscribe, like, and share the videos.